All right, welcome to Mr. Holloway's Foundational Python Skills Series. In this video, we're going to be taking off from our custom functions video. And in this video, we're going to talk about parameters versus arguments. All right, so I'm going to clear this video. I'm going to clear this code, and we are going to define a function. And I'm going to do something a little more interesting here. So we're going to do something that let's say just adds two numbers. We're going to keep it simple. So I'm going to define a function, and we're going to do this. Two ways. Okay, so I'm going to call this function addition. And I do want to point out that in Python, it's good practice to every time you make a function or a custom function, you want to make it lowercase. It's just a style that Python has. You don't want to do an uppercase function like that. Okay, so we're going to do a lowercase, and we're going to just call it addition. We're going to call it exactly what it does, and I'm going to do my opening and closing parentheses, and then I'm going to print. I'm going to create a variable called sum in a second. So let me go back up, and actually let me come up here. I'm going to define some global variables. I'm going to say A is equal to 10 and B is equal to let's say 14. All right, and then I'm going to say sum is equal to A plus B, and we'll print the sum. All right, so hold on, let me see, what are we doing here? We're not getting anything. And can anyone figure out why I'm not getting anything? I've clicked run. What's going on here? I don't get anything on the console side. Let me bring this over a little bit. Well, Mr. Genius, Mr. Holloway, you need to call the function as we talked about in the previous video. So I need to call it. If you do not call it, you will not get any results because you're not actually using it. So I'm going to call addition. So now we should get some results. All right. So now we get 24. So 10 plus 24 looks good. All right. So this is a good function, but it's not a good use of a function because the result of this is always going to be 10 plus 24. We want to customize it a little bit, and we're going to customize it a few ways. But we want to customize this. So what I want to do is, instead of putting the variables up here, I'm going to get rid of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some parameters. So what that means is that I'm going to put a variable here, a comma here. And we call these on this side, we call these parameters. So what that means is let's say I just run it now. So let's say I run it, or we're going to get an error. And watch what happens. Okay, so the error says type error, additional missing 2 required positional arguments A and B. All right. That simply means that when we call it, we have to call the function with arguments. So now we can put in a function, we can put in numbers, and it's going to add those numbers up. That should get rid of the error. Okay, so let's call it, and we get 7. So that means 3 plus 4. Now this is a lot better than the previous function because the previous function hard-coded A and B, which were like 14 and 10. So now we can put anything in there. We could put 100. We could put 34. Okay. And we'll get the result of that, 134. Now, I do want to point out with you, when you watch videos, you're going to hear different renditions of what I just said. So some people may call these parameters. They may call them arguments. Then the same here. But on the function definition side, these are known as parameters. When you call the function, these are arguments. So you have to put arguments inside of the function. In the function definition, they're called parameters. So that's just kind of a technical note because you will hear arguments and parameters, but the technical correct way is that these are parameters and these are arguments. So I just want to point that out. All right, now the good thing is that in most programming languages, in fact, maybe all of programming languages, this concept applies. You may make a function differently in Java or JavaScript or Rust, but they all have that concept of parameters and arguments and calling functions with arguments. And so this is a good thing to know. Now, I do want to make this thing a little bit more intuitive. So I am going to let's go ahead and actually, you know what? I think this is going to cover this. I think I'm satisfied with this. Yeah, this looks good. I don't think I'm going to go on any further with this one. We're going to move on to the next video where we're going to cover the return statement. And this video is just a review of parameters versus arguments. And we get more flexibility when we use parameters and arguments. Oh, I do need to point out this. I want to just do something extra here. So let's say that I had a comma and I wanted to add a third argument of 10. All right. As you can guess, we're going to get an error. And the reason why we're going to get an error is because we're adding 3 arguments, but in the function definition, we've only added 2 parameters. Okay, so these have to match. And it says takes 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. Now we can fix that by simply let's add a C, and then that will work. Spacing doesn't matter in this case, but it's a good idea to just put some spaces in between that. You don't need one here. But here we can just add that, and then now this is all going to match up. So we have 3 arguments and 3 parameters, and then when we run the code, we will get rid of that, and we'll get the actual answer. All right. So that ends the video. I will pick up with the return statement in the next video. And if you like the video, please go ahead, like it, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next video.